What is happening, fellow Cobras? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be discussing why Terry Silver went back to his old ways in Cobra Kai Season 4. But before we get started, if this is your first time being here and you love Cobra Kai and Karate Kid just like the rest of us, you're in the right place. Consider joining the Strike First Army today by hitting the red subscribe button down below and turning on all notifications so you never miss a new video. And one last thing before we jump right in, a huge shout out to my good friend Pascal Aka, who created this insane Terry Silver theme that I'm using as the background music in this video. Please do me a favor, if you enjoy the music that you hear today, go check out Pascal. He's got a multitude of different themes that he's created himself for all the characters that we know and love from the Karate Kid and Cobra Kai universe. The return we were all waiting for in Season 4 was of course the wildly over-the-top cartoon-like villain Terry Silver from the Karate Kid 3. And some of us were expecting him to be just like he was in the 80s, but there were telltale signs that he had changed a lot since then and made things very interesting. And luckily we got an explanation as to why he was so different, which pointed to one key factor, and that was his excessive cocaine use, which of course made him so over the top and wild. And Terry himself even explained that in Season 4 he put most of the blame on his drug use. He even acknowledged the fact about how crazy it was back in the 80s that he was terrorizing a teenager and an old man about a high school karate tournament. And he then said that he got himself back into therapy to get his life back on track. But somewhere along the way in Season 4, Terry started to slowly change back into his psychotic ways. Which leads us to a very important question as to what exactly caused Terry to go backwards, because he showed so many redeeming qualities to his character, like not teaching his students to feed into revenge, aggression, cheating, and even apologized to Daniel whether he was sincere or not about it, because that takes guts to apologize for something that you always thought you were right about and you didn't realize it until just now. But right around the episode 7 mark of Season 4, Minefields, we saw Terry shift back to his old ways of the 80s, and I think there could be 3 key factors that could be contributing to this. One being an obvious one of PTSD, with Kreese storming back into his life out of nowhere while he's got everything going good, and trying to forget about that point of his life. Kreese just asserts himself back in, bringing up all these horrific memories that Terry would have rather left in the past. And as he progresses as a sensei in the Cobra Kai dojo, Terry, just like Kreese, eventually begins mentioning that being in a fight is like being in a war.
You shouldn't care what other people think about you, right? Wrong. What your opponent is thinking is key. In war, in business, in a fight.
And starts referring to Kreese as his captain again. And I say this a lot about Kreese. Kreese's personality and teaching methods definitely make it seem like he's in the war state of mind, like he never came back from Vietnam. He's just always living in the war. And Terry definitely got out of that war state of mind, but Kreese has just dragged him right back in. And another contribution could be back in episode 3 of Season 4, we see Silver tying back up his ponytail for perhaps the first time in 30 years. But believe it or not, that's not the most interesting part, because right before that we see him taking some sort of medication. And unfortunately when it's shown we cannot actually see the label of what it exactly is, but it very well could be some antipsychotic, which could explain Silver's drastic change in personality. But what I could realistically see happening is that Silver eventually stopped taking that medication somewhere along the line after he decided to join Kreese, and that could be one of the big explanations for as to why he snapped and suddenly changed so quickly. And now the last factor that I believe has contributed to Terry's change is perhaps the biggest one, and that pushed him over the edge, and that has been his indulgence back into his cocaine usage. Because I'm sure many of you guys have noticed that Terry has slowly but surely made his way back to his over-the-top and wacky self that he once was. And after blaming that behavior on cocaine in episode 1, it's definitely safe to say that he revisited that quote-unquote old friend in his life. And the way I see it, Kreese triggering his PTSD that early on in the season is what started it all. He got into Terry's head because at first Terry wanted nothing to do with Cobra Kai anymore and coming back.
I say no.
And the more and more that Kreese did that, the more he poked the bear, it caused Terry to remember that he made a promise that he'll always be there for Kreese for what he did for him in Vietnam, which of course made him feel guilty and obligated to come back. And as he became more and more involved in the dojo, Kreese continued to mess with his head and saying that he was doing things wrong and needed to follow in his lead. So I think this is where Terry started to neglect taking his medications, which had him showing sparks of his old tendencies. But like I said, I think the key factor that I think pushed him over the edge was getting back into cocaine. In episode 7, Minefields of Season 4, Kreese really struck a nerve with Terry and actually hurt him, so he wanted to prove his loyalty one last time to Kreese. And I really think after the events of episode 7, that's when Terry started using coke again, because that's when he devised the diabolical plan to lure Johnny to the old dojo to beat the crap out of him. And this Terry right here is the closest I think that we've seen of him compared to the old Terry.
Whoa! You see this? Looks like LaRusso taught him some defense. Okay, pretty boy, let's go.
So with Kreese disapproving of Terry's plan to just beat the crap out of Johnny, that absolutely pushed Terry over the edge. He was like, screw this, I'm done with loyalty. Kreese is just using me. Nothing I ever do will be good enough. I need to get him out of the dojo. So this would then explain why he did what he did to Stingray, because he was just probably thinking, you know what, nothing's working, so I need to get rid of Kreese. And then here comes Stingray, happy-go-lucky, and that's when he decided, you know what, this is the perfect opportunity. So to reiterate, I think a combination of PTSD, lack of taking his medications, and cocaine relapses were the key players into Terry's return to the diabolical, over-the-top type guy that was so obsessed with revenge. But honestly, this was just the beginning. It was actually a teaser of what's to come for the character of Terry Silver. Season 5 is going to be a whole new ball game. Terry's now on top of the martial arts world, and it's going to be even crazier and more unpredictable as it's ever been. But with that being said, guys, that'll do it for this video. Be sure to let me know down below in the comment section, why do you think Terry Silver went back to his old ways in Cobra Kai Season 4? And before I go today, I just want to thank you all so much. We just hit 5,000 subscribers. That's insane. We hit 5,000 subscribers in just about 8 months of this channel being active. So I just want to extend my thanks to all of you. You guys mean the world to me. I love making videos for all of you. So let's see where we can take this channel. If you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed to Strike First Media. I got a plethora of different videos coming for Season 4 and 5 that you won't want to miss. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.